Welcome. Today, we're decrypting an ancient schematic, a foundational secret of reality that's been hidden in mystical texts for ages. We're going to explore the architecture of true attachment, the very thing that defines our spiritual lives. And this isn't just philosophy, okay? This is cosmic engineering.
So, before we dive into this ancient blueprint, I want you to ask yourself a very modern question. In the operating system of your life, what system are you plugged into? And maybe more importantly, who holds the administrative rights? That right there, that's the core question we're going to decode today.
All right, our journey begins at this single, pivotal moment in history. I want you to just imagine this scene. Think 4K heritage style, a golden desert horizon. The air is just thick with divine potential. And right there, a single decision by the patriarch Abraham literally splits the river of wisdom into two completely distinct paths, a division that would go on to shape spiritual destiny for all time. Now, the Zohar describes this moment not as some simple family matter, but as a deliberate act of cosmic architecture. What Abraham was doing was structuring spiritual knowledge for all future generations, laying down the actual framework for how humanity would access the divine. And let's be really clear, these were not insignificant parting gifts. The word is matanot, and it refers to powerful tools, keys to understanding and, to some degree, manipulating the external forces of creation. We're talking knowledge of astrology, the names of angels, the hidden mechanics of nature. Powerful stuff, for sure. But here's the key. It's all external. The Zohar is super specific about this. This land of the East, or Eretz Kedem, is identified as the source of all the practices that operate on the outer layers of reality. Mystically, these are known as the klipot, the husks or shells that conceal the divine essence. So you see, he gave them the keys to the shell, not the core. And this just brilliantly illustrates the difference. This wasn't just a larger slice of the pie. It was a fundamentally different type of inheritance. It wasn't a set of tools to manipulate the system from the outside. It was an unmediated, direct connection to the source of the system itself. So what was the secret, the sod, behind this critical division? This is where we get to the mechanics of it all. Let's decode this ancient parable using a modern analogy that I think cuts right to the heart of the matter. So here it is, the crucial point. Abraham gave his other sons a set of API keys to reality's operating system. These keys granted them access to specific functions, allowing them to interact with and even manipulate certain outputs. But to Isaac and his lineage, he gave root server access. We're talking full system authority, a direct, unmediated channel straight to the programmer. Let's see how this maps to the sacred texts. The Midrash Hanayelm explains that the name Elohim is really just a generic term for power. It's a shared name for the system's many functions, the APIs. Angels are called Elohim. Judges are called Elohim. So attaching to Elohim is like trying to connect to a specific, limited function, rather than the programmer who wrote all the code. In total contrast, you have the name YHVH, the Tetragrammaton. This name is not shared. The Midrash is emphatic on this point. It is his and his alone. This name represents the root server, the core essence, not just a function or an expression of power. All true, stable, and pure attachment must be directed exclusively to this level. This is the direct line. And listen, this isn't just presented as a religious rule. It's a systemic law. It's like a warning from the system administrator. Connecting to an API, an intermediary force, as if it were the ultimate source is a critical error. It leads to what the verse calls yusharam, which means to be utterly cut off, a spiritual system crash, a total disconnection from the life-giving network. Now, this root access, it wasn't just a one-time gift. It was a channel that had to be forged, stabilized, and then perfected through 3 generations. Each patriarch embodied a crucial attribute, building the secure, encrypted channel to the divine. The mystical text Sitrei Torah maps this out perfectly. First, Abraham represents chesed, this expansive, outward-flowing love that initiates the connection. But an open pipe can be accessed by anyone, right? So next, Isaac brings gevura, discipline, and severity, which sets the boundaries. Think of gevura as the firewall, the strength to say no to all other connections. And finally, Jacob, called the complete man, embodies tiferet, harmony and truth. He perfectly integrates the two, creating the stable central trunk of the Sephirotic tree. So you see, each patriarch contributed a vital component, building layer upon layer of this secure channel. Abraham opened the port, Isaac installed the security protocols and encryption, and Jacob optimized the bandwidth and stabilized the connection, making it the enduring inheritance for the soul of Israel. And this is such a brilliant way to visualize the two end results. The Eastern gifts, the API access, are like light passing through a prism. You get a beautiful spectrum of fragmented colors, astrology, numerology, specific powers, but they are scattered and separate. The Isaac and Jacob inheritance, on the other hand, is the single point of pure white light before it hits the prism. It's the unified source that contains all the colors within it. The Zohar describes Jacob as embodying both white and red. That's Chesed and Gevurah contained within a single, perfected being. A unified light, not a scattered spectrum. Now, this entire cosmic blueprint isn't just some fascinating piece of ancient history. It's a living map that presents every single human soul with a fundamental choice in what we might call the video game of life.
So here's the choice. You can spend your life chasing the temporary power-ups. These are the external forces, wealth, fame, manipulating astral energies. They're flashy, they give immediate results, but they are finite and ultimately external to you. The other path is to level up your core character, your neshama, your divine soul. Now this way is harder. It requires discipline, inner work, delaying gratification, but it's the only way to gain true, lasting purpose and connect to the game's ultimate source code. The Midrash frames this as the choice between clinging to the force of the earth, which is fleeting, or cultivating the divine soul that connects you to eternity.
But look, accessing this direct line, this root server connection, isn't automatic. The system, like any secure network, has security protocols. The sources are incredibly clear about what's required to establish and maintain a clean, uncorrupted connection. You have to qualify for root access. Think of this as the user agreement you must accept. Clean hands. Your actions in the world must be pure. A pure heart. Your intentions must be aligned with the divine will, not self-interest. No false attachments. You must refuse to give ultimate devotion to any intermediary, any API. And finally, you must sanctify your actions. As the Midrash states, one must actively sanctify oneself, v'het kiddishtem v'heitem kiddoshim, to become a fitting vessel, because the source you're connecting to is holy. And here's probably the most empowering part of this whole blueprint. Your root access point, your personal Ethernet port to the divine, already exists within you. It's your neshama, your soul. The work isn't about building something from scratch. The work is about clearing the malware, deleting the viruses of false attachments, and cleaning up the system so that the pre-existing connection can function at full capacity. So let's bring this all home. The entire system we've just mapped out, from Abraham's division of wisdom, to the patriarchal forging of the channel, to the individual's ethical choices, it all culminates in this unique prescribed path. The path laid out in the Torah with its commandments, or mitzvot, isn't just a set of rules. It is sacred technology. It's the user manual, the operating system, specifically designed to maintain this direct, unmediated connection. It's the practical methodology for ensuring your personal connection remains exclusively with YHVH, the root server, and isn't rerouted through any lesser Elohim. And this verse right here, it just seals the deal. Jacob, who represents the perfected channel, integrating both kindness and discipline, becomes synonymous with this treasured, direct line relationship. And this isn't about exclusivity for its own sake. It's about the integrity of the connection. A direct, unmediated line is a treasured possession in any communication system. So we end right where we began, with a choice. The world is full of API calls, loud, enticing, promising immediate results. The signal from the root server is often just a quiet whisper, requiring you to silence the noise and tune in with intention. Now that you have the blueprint, the choice of which signal to amplify is yours. Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.